Nithyanandam, everyone! Welcome back to the Kundalini Yogini. This is Prasiddha. Thank you guys for joining me in my car on this sunny day. So I just wanted to film this video because I keep making excuses not to film this week because I've been so busy. But I am just making it happen in my break between my appointment and my clinic shift here at school. I'm about to be apprenticing in our school clinic for Ayurveda and working with patients here, so I'm always loving to do that, but I just wanted to get this video out there before my day flies by and it's dark. So I wanted to share with you guys my experience of my very first 24-hour dry fast. So this Shivaratri, which is a huge Hindu celebration, festival, astrological happening every single year around this time, around the end of February, beginning of March, it's the time when Shiva was said to take his original form as a shaft of light, of an infinite shaft of light. And really beautifully, actually, the way the Sanatana Dharma scriptures explains this happening is identical to what science knows as the Big Bang today, the creation of the cosmos. So basically, it's a celebration of the creation of the universe. And it's a very auspicious, sacred holiday. And a lot of times people have a dry fast for 24 hours at least during this time, during this auspicious time. So for the first time this year, I decided to do my very first dry fast. Now, I've done a lot of fasting, as you guys might know, and I've done 21 days of just liquids and all these different types of things, but a lot of intermittent fasting, but never a 24-hour dry fast without any food or water, nothing, no liquids either. So my experience was really awesome, actually. It was challenging in the beginning, like the initial hours, but the end of the experience, I felt awesome. I didn't even feel like I was dying to eat anything by the end. And I also noticed a lot of detox happening to my body, which is what I like to see. What's, a huge component of why we do it as well. It's really great for the body to reset for a short period of time like that and get a chance to digest all of the undigested food particles that get stuck inside us when we're constantly inputting food every single day, 3-4 times a day, right? And so it gives us a chance to reset. So I basically started at around 9:30 a.m. on Shivaratri, which was a Friday, and I went on all day, obviously. By late afternoon, 3 or 4, that's when I really noticed the mind was kicking in, and I had those thoughts, that agitation was coming up of the hunger. I was feeling really hungry. I wanted to eat. I was at our temple, and there was like this amazing feast of my favorite Indian foods, and I was just dropping it. And I realized, like I always do when fasting comes around, is that it's all a mind game. It's all a mental game that you have to be persistent with. You have to have will persistence to power over the thoughts that are popping up inside you and realize they're not reality. I'm obviously going to survive without food. I'm obviously going to survive without water for this 24 hours. To just drop those thoughts, that agitation, those hunger feelings that bring up emotions in us. And that's, I think, the most important part of the fasting process is really asserting the power of the consciousness over your body. That, my friends, I really can tell you is the context of why I do it, why I did it, and why I encourage fasting to be done in a healthy and educated way by people. It's because it's part of the yogic lifestyle, that yogic path of understanding this body and this mind is not me. There's something beyond this which has power over the body and the mind, which is my consciousness. My consciousness has that power to transcend the body and mind. And only when we actually experiment with our consciousness and assert our consciousness does this knowledge become real experience, right? It becomes a fact and a reality for us versus just some knowledge that we're reading about in a book, right? It doesn't mean anything to say, I understand that I'm consciousness, I understand that I'm Paramashiva, if we've never tried to be Paramashiva. If you actually think that you can't feed your belly for one day and that you're gonna let that have power over you, you're gonna let your tummy, your hunger pains have power over you, how are you Paramashiva, right? So we have to assert our consciousness over the matter of our body and especially of our mind that has a lot of, self-negating thoughts, and we have to transcend that. And fasting is a beautiful way to do this. So the rest of the day felt really smooth. I felt just really light in my body, of course, and really awesome. I felt really healthy and strong and active. I was active the whole day and night. I went to bed at like a little earlier than midnight, and then I woke up, I think, at about 6 or something in the morning. I slept in a little later than I normally do, but I got up, did some of the morning routine and everything, and then I was actually traveling that day. But before I left, 9:30 came around, and just before 9:30, so sorry, I want to keep integrity with my word to you guys, it was just short of a 24-hour dry fast because I'm so upset. I was packing my bags and getting everything ready to go, and it was just a total unconscious movement. I was moving my water bottle from my bag to my backpack, and while in the movement, I was just subconsciously, without any awareness, unscrewed the cap and took one sip, and then right after I did, I was like, shit, no, I'm 30 minutes away from 24 hours. So I think it was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and my 24 hours was 9:30, and I was like, no. But I just dropped it, you know, I didn't take any more, and I still didn't take food or other water other than that until about 10, a little after, actually it was more like 10:30 that I ate and drank for the first time. So one thing I wanted to add in was what I noticed about the water. So the food part was actually probably easier for me than the water fast. And what I noticed was just in the last little time before bed, I definitely had the feeling like my mouth was dry, but I just dropped it, and it didn't bother me too much. At this point, I also wasn't having any lightheadedness or anything like that, which I was actually kind of surprised because throughout my life, it's been really easy for me to feel faint when I don't have food or water. So I knew that there was a lot of spiritual energy, that prana that was being inputted in my body, and that my guru and Paramashiva were taking care of everything for me. So it was going really smooth. Then when I woke up the next morning, I also felt really good. The one thing I did notice was in the last few hours, as I was moving my head, if I had changed my altitude quickly, like if I like bent down and then stood up again really fast, my head would have a little bit more of a head rush than normal. And I did start getting like a slight headache late at the night and in the morning. It wasn't terrible, but it was definitely there. And I was feeling a little pressure in my head. And the interesting thing was the first sip of water that I took, and when I started drinking water, it was really cool because it tasted totally different. And I've never experienced this because I've never tried to not have water for that long before. But the water tasted so sweet, and when I first took a sip, I thought maybe something was in the water. I thought like something was added into it because it tasted so sugary, like it tasted so sweet to my mouth. And I think I realized that must be like because when the body doesn't have that fluid, when you drink it again, it tasted like nectar, like it tasted so sweet. So I thought that was really interesting how that happened, and I'm sure there's a scientific explanation for it that I am unaware of. So if you guys know, you can definitely share that with me, but that was a cool thing to notice. I technically was just under 24 hours, but it's okay. It was a beautiful experience, and I also noticed, and this might be too much information, but those of you guys that are interested in detox might appreciate it. I noticed that even that morning, the following morning when I was about, 22 hours in, I had a bowel movement, so I went to the bathroom. So there was still that digestion happening, which means that was just accumulation, right? So there was still detox happening, and it was cool to see that was still, waste matter coming out of my body, even though I hadn't put anything into it in 24 hours. So yeah, it felt really great. I felt like it was a little reset for my body and for my mind. Definitely going to do it again. And the coolest part is now that I've done it once, it's like not an intimidating thing to try again. So definitely on these auspicious holidays, I'm going to be doing dry fasting more and more and keeping this up. So stay tuned for further experiences. If you guys have any questions or comments about your experiences, let me know in the comments below, and I will connect with you guys on the next video. Nithyanandam, everyone. Have a blissful and beautiful week.